can't wait to hear what's in your heart, Crystal. Take it away.
Thank you everyone for taking the time to be here with us today. I'm very grateful to speak with you all. So like Jodi said, what are questions you can ask yourself to gain self-awareness? I really do appreciate this subject, and I'm actually going to offer a concept that I go over with my clients that's actually part of the BIPOC method. The I stands for identity, and it's called the identity tree, and it's right behind me. It's made up of 3 parts. Hopefully you can see it. But the breakdown is 3 main categories of questions to help you gain awareness of your present self and where you are in your life. Hopefully, like I said, you can see behind me, but I just drew out this picture to help depict the vision that I have of the identity trees. And I do want to point out that as you go through these questions, you might discover parts that you like, and you might discover parts of yourself that you don't like someone had mentioned already. But I want to offer to resist the urge of not answering certain questions or not accepting certain answers because you don't want to accept that they're there. That is the first part of self-awareness, is being able to be okay with being aware of both the good and the bad parts. And so we want to come from a place of self-compassion and genuine curiosity to really just see where we're at without judgment, without shame, without guilt. And so the tree trunk, it's the tree trunk, fruit or flowers, whatever floats your boat, and then the water. Those are the 3 components. The trunk, the tree trunk, is who you already are. The fruit is who you want to be, or the flowers, who do you want to be? And the water is how you're becoming that person today. And so the first of the 3 is who are you? How would you identify yourself right now? Outside of titles, outside of role assignments, outside of accomplishments. So the first part of the question to gain more self-awareness is who are you? It's the tree trunk, it's the base. It's how would you describe yourself? Outside of titles, outside of role assignments, like actual adjectives that you would use to describe yourself of how you've been on average for the past week, for the day, yesterday, really just getting in tune with how would you describe yourself adjective-wise. And really looking at, do you feel in your body, do you feel maintained? Do you feel like you're thriving, or do you feel like you're just surviving? Because asking ourselves who we are and identifying ourselves outside of a commonality that we use is the roles and titles, that's the beginning of self-awareness. And then second would be, who do you want to become? It's your tree, you get to decide, but who do you want to become? What does that person represent to you? What are the adjectives you would use to describe that person? What kind of thoughts do they think when they wake up? What kind of thoughts do they think in the middle of the day? What does that person feel on a regular basis? Do they forget what day of the week it is because they just are that in love with their life that it doesn't matter that they have to wait till the weekend? How does that person respond to road rage? How does that person respond to disagreements? How does that person take care of themselves, or how does that person vacation? Is it an actual vacation, or is it relaxation? Is it stress laxing? Are you trying to do stress and relax at the same time? So who do you want to become? What do you envision for that person? That's the second piece. And the last main question is represented by the water. How can you be today? How can the answers number 2, who you want to show up, who you want to become to show up today, even right now? How are you listening to this pep talk? How you are going to pay it forward to someone else after this? How would that person you want to practice to show up today? How can you water your mind right now to intentionally grow into that person you want to be? How can you redirect your mind to what you have available to you instead of what you don't? Because it's nice to daydream, to think about who we want to be 1, 3, 5 years from now, because we're disconnected from that timeline, but it's really bringing it back to the present moment and being very intentional with our present, not by default. And that starts with self-awareness of how we're showing up today. Because I personally had to go through this process as I was transitioning from my identity as a physician to coach. I was giving up a lot of opportunities to introduce myself as a coach and talk about my business, because I wasn't aware that I was only identifying myself as a physician, and how that was holding me back to becoming the person that I wanted to be. So this came up for me when I was transitioning from physician to coach. And there's a lot of things that came up for me, like anger because I was in a career that I wasn't happy with, and also grief because I was grieving an identity and letting go of identity that I held on for so long. And it was through asking these questions of who I wanted to become, becoming more self-aware of who I was being now versus the person that I envisioned in my mind in the future. It's through these questions I was able to unpack the self-awareness that I needed in order to grow into becoming that person. And so I want to leave you with this. The life that we ultimately desire and cherish is through the intention and action of becoming self-aware of the life that we actually want to live and how we want to live it. So how do we gain self-awareness? Is we start asking ourselves, who are we? Who do we want to become? And how can we be that person today? That's what I have for you. Thank you.